which will cause your bone deformity. You will have a bone deformity. That is excess fluoride. Now, another effect of this fluoride is that it is neurotoxic. The neurotoxicity, it can affect memory and learning. And not only that, it can cause some mental symptoms, such as anxiety and depression. We are talking about high fluoride level. And this has been proven and tested to have caused impaired memory, particularly in the hippocampus. Hippocampus is in the brain. Now, another toxic effect of this fluoride, it will create changes in the liver and kidney. Remember I said about 2% will find their way into the liver and kidney. Now, if you have adolescents, because all these effects mostly affect adolescents, if you have that, it will lead to kidney problem and liver problem. We are talking about the high effect of what? Fluoride. At the end of this talk, I will ask you, is it a blessing or a curse? So I hope we are listening. Now, the toxic effect of this fluoride does not stop from there. It can cause some changes or damage the parathyroid gland. And this parathyroid gland will cause a depletion of the calcium in your bones. And when you have lower calcium, that means you are going to have a fragile bone, which can easily break up in case of a slight accident. Now, excess fluoride may also contribute to the following health challenges: acne and other skin problems. It can cause cardiovascular problems, such as hardening of the arteries, and that will eventually lead to high blood pressure, and myocardial damage. At the end of it, it will result in heart failure. We are still talking about toxicity of fluoride. Now, it does not stop from there. It affects reproductive tissues, and it can cause low fertility and early puberty in girls. That is the effect of fluoride. Now, we have talked about the effect of fluoride. Lastly, let's look at the effect on the joint and bones. This is capable of causing what we call temporomandibular joint disorder. It can cause that. That is a joint connecting your jaw and that of the head. So it can cause a problem like that. Now, these are the effects of fluoride. Now, we conducted some researches on fluoride. Now, normally, I said if there is no problem, there is no need for any research. Yes. This is the problem. You've seen it on the board? Okay. No, go back. Please, go back to the problem. Please, use the... Yes, the next slide. Now, we said for any research, you cannot just start conducting research without a problem. What led us to conduct the research is this. You can all see it on the board. That is what led us to conduct the research. That is our research problem now. Now, the next thing is, we took our sample location Our sample location is Kaltungo local government, and we considered a ward, that is Kaltungo East Ward. Then we took 3 different locations: Okra, Kale Aya, Poshereng, and Popandi. These are our research areas. Now, what we did is that we collected water samples, 3 from each of the locations, both borehole and well water. We considered 3 samples. Then we brought it to the lab and we analyzed the fluoride content. We used the spectrophotometric technique, and the major reagent that we use is Spans reagent and what we call zirconyl fluoride, because these are sensitive tests that we use in determining for the presence of fluoride. We have not used the fluoride selection electrode because it is very expensive. Even this one is too expensive, and it's a self-sponsored project. Next slide. Now, we have selected these areas. Then the other thing we did, that is what we call the experimental research. Now, we also carried out a survey research using questionnaires. We issued questionnaires to 15 families, 60 families, 15 per location. That makes a total of 60. Then we issued questionnaires. Some of the questionnaires, research questions in the questionnaire were: how many of you are in the family? How many of you have motile teeth? How many are free from motile teeth? Is there any accident among your family members? If they do, does it result in a fracture? These are some of the research questions, and we analyzed the result statistically. Next slide. Now, these are the results obtained from our analysis. And this is the fluoride concentration in borehole water. You notice that in Kale Aya, the 3 samples that we took, and the average will give you 1.53 milligram per liter. This result is higher than the accepted World Health Organization. Apart from World Health Organization, we also have our own standard here. The standard for the tropics is 0.8 milligram per liter. And the reason for adopting 0.8 milligram per liter is that we drink a lot of water, and this water that we take, the fluoride accumulates. Like I said, it goes to the teeth and the bones. That is how our own standard is 0.8. Now, if you look at the result on the board, all of them, they are outside the accepted world standard and Nigerian standard. For the world standard is 1.3. If you look at them, 2 of them are above that. But the 1.7 and the 0.9, if you consider the standard of the tropics, they are also what? They are also outside the standard. Now, you have to take a control. We took water sample from Gombe. That stuff as a control. And you can notice the concentration is 0.9, far closer to the standard. Next slide. Now, in the well water that we took, these are the results obtained. If you look at the well water, all the results again, except that of Popandi. That is what is happening. All the results except that of Popandi. These are the results we obtained. Next slide. Now, like I said, we took a survey analysis. Now, this is the result we have discussed statistically. If you look at Kale Aya, the number without motile teeth, we are talking about clean teeth without any stain. They are 36.8. Now, percentage without motile teeth, percentage with motile teeth is 63.2. Now, fracture resulting from accident, you find out that those who had an accident and the accident resulted in fracture, 29.09. okra, you have 30.96, motile teeth 69.0, percentage with fracture 54.55. So also for Sheren and Popandi. Now, what can we derive from this? If you look at this one very well, you notice that those without motile teeth, those with motile teeth, if the percentage is high, you notice that the rate of fracture is low in the table. If the percentage of motile teeth is high, the rate of fracture is low. That implies that the visible effect of this fluoride concentration is on the teeth. But then, those who do not have on the teeth, you cannot conveniently say you are grateful to God, you are safe. You are not safe because you have an effect on your bone. That is the implication of the result. Like me now, I don't have it, but I stand a chance of what? A chance of getting a fracture either on the hand or at the leg based on this research. Naturally, not that I don't have it. I will tell you what happened to my own. Let's move. Now, when we conducted this research, our former BC, Professor Umar, met us. He saw us with collecting water samples. He said, "What are you doing?" We said, "We are determining the presence of." He said, "There are problems. Why do we need to go far? There's a place there around, I don't know the place, closer to the hill there." And he said, there was a time the Europeans came here, they dug a hole here, a water here, well. There was water, they covered it. They said, "Can you investigate?" Of course we did. But that was not of fluoride. We noticed there's something that made them to cover the well. Then after some years, I saw people drilling boreholes all over the place. I called my research assistant. I said, "There's trouble here. I hope people are not going to drink this water. They are going to use to water their flower." That is by the side. Let's continue. Now, back. Now, we had to expand our research to other locations. That is why we took 4 local government areas in this. We took Biliri, Gombe, Kaltungo, Shongom. Then we also took a control in Gombe, where we know that there's no fluoride effect. Now, these are the results. As you can see from the board, all the results are beyond the acceptable standard, except for the control, which is Kaswamata, Jaropuna, and Malangina. These are the results that we obtained. Now, next slide. Now, let's look at it. What are our findings for this research? 1, the concentration of fluoride levels in drinking water of the sample areas are responsible for the mottling of teeth. That is the finding. All those with motile teeth, they should check, is as a result of what? Fluoride. Now, the concentration of fluoride in bowl water is greater than that of the well water. That is what we discovered. And a research was carried on about 2. They also established what we also discovered. For those places with high concentration of fluoride, the deeper you go, the more the concentration of fluoride. So that means the people in Kaltungo and all these areas that they are in dilemma or they are in trouble. You see, we are digging bowls all over the place, avoiding well water. We are running away from microbial contamination and reaching a chemical contamination. While microbial contamination can be combated by ordinary boiling, you can't combat chemical contamination by boiling. So, what do we do? It's left to you to either drink borehole water or you drink what? Well water. Now, the toxicity of fluoride, we said, is more on the teeth because that is the visible one. It's more on the teeth, but there is on the bones, which we cannot see. Now, from the survey research, we also discovered that those without motile teeth are likely going to have what? Bone fracture than those with motile teeth. That is the finding. Now, we know the research problem. We have identified the cause of the problem. What next? Our research is not complete unless we proceed to how can we remedy fluoride concentration. That is the next thing we want to look at. I have 40 minutes to finish my talk, right? Now, we also conducted some research on how to remove fluoride from water. Now, we use a cheap reagent, the rice husk, which is so common. I remember in those days, they used to throw it away and burn it, but now, nobody burns rice husks. You have to buy. We also look at montmorillonite clay. This is a clay. And from literature, we were told that alumina can remove fluoride. So that is why we went into considering this clay. And this clay is common in Balanga local government area. Now the next reagent we considered is coconut shell. You crack your coconut, you throw the shell away. Now we gathered all these ones, transported them to the lab after washing and doing all the necessary treatment. We then carbonized and activated all these three reagents. I don't want to bother you with chemical English. That is why I'm just using this one. Again, we prepared a sample of fluoride, a known concentration of fluoride. Then we tried the reagent to see whether they can absorb the fluoride. And they did, and the result is as presented. Now, for the activated rice husk, which contains a lot of silica, there is also alumina, but silica is more than alumina in rice husk. It was able to remove 73.1% of fluoride in water, which is very good. Then we also considered the clay. The clay, which contains more alumina, was able to remove 81.7%. Then the activated coconut shell was able to remove 83.5%. Now, with this one, all these three can be used as absorbent in the removal of fluoride. Next. Now, I am through with experimental and survey research. Let's go into historical research. Now, these values were gotten from journals, literature review, and other things. That is why I said they are what? Historical. Now, we have some ways of removing this fluoride from water. The first way is reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis uses a semi-permeable membrane, and this is capable of removing 90 to 95% of what? Of fluoride and other contaminants. Because reverse osmosis removes fluoride and other contaminants, like heavy metals. Reverse osmosis will remove all of them. So, but what is the problem with reverse osmosis? It has a problem. For you to get one gallon of clean water, you need 3 gallons. So for every 4 gallons, you will have 1 gallon of clean water. So it wastes water. That is the disadvantage of reverse osmosis. Now the next one is the activated alumina, which I said in our own case, we use montmorillonite as clay. Now when you do that, this activated alumina will remove fluoride level to almost 90%. Remember, we obtained 81.3. So that can also remove what? Remove fluoride. Next slide. Now, the next is bone char carbon, which we call activated charcoal. But if you are talking about the bone char, it's different from the coconut shell we use. The bone char is made from bone. You can go to abattoir, collect all the bones, chemically treat them, activate them. They can be used in removing what? Removing fluoride. And the efficiency is 90% efficient. The other one is distillation. Yes, distillation will give you 99% clean water. 99% clean water. But the problem with distillation is just like that of the reverse osmosis. For every 4 gallons, you get 1 gallon. Water is wasted in the process. And with this electricity problem, it consumes a lot of what? A lot of energy, resulting in more problems. Next. Now, the other one is electrodialysis. Electrodialysis is that it uses a semi-permeable membrane, just like the reverse osmosis, but this is in opposite direction. So when you do that, it removes fluoride effectively, but you only use it in large-scale production, not a small scale. Now, the next one is Nalgonda technique of fluoride removal. This Nalgonda technique of fluoride removal is that you are going to use a precipitating agent, like alum. You precipitate, the fluoride will go together with other impurities. Then you can get it in form of sediment, or it will be coagulated. Then you get your pure water. Now, this process is used in large water treatment plant. Like the whole of Gombe now, if it is made of fluoride, we can use the Nalgonda technique so that we have our clean water. But it has its own disadvantage, isn't it? What is the disadvantage? It is required only in places where the concentration of the fluoride is moderate. Where the concentration of the fluoride is very high, you don't use this technique. Next. The next one is the ion exchange resin. These are synthetic materials that you can use in treating your water. Then we have the activated carbon filters. Yes, it's carbon. You can buy them, you can use them. But what is the problem of activated carbon filters? It does not remove fluoride at significant levels. So we still have problem. Now, the best way is to use reverse osmosis and activated alumina and distillation if you want to remove or reduce your fluoride concentration. Next slide. Now, we have identified the research problem. We have identified the cause of the problem. We have identified how to reduce the problem. Now, to make our research complete, how do you treat dental fluorosis? If you look at the treatment, then we look at the precaution to take. Now, the treatment processes. We have so many treatment processes. The first one is if your dental fluorosis is mild, that is, you have white spots and streaks, you use a cosmetic problem to solve it. Which cosmetic problem? We use teeth whitening agent. We have gels that you can use to clean the teeth, but you require the service of a dentist. He will help you to do that. Now, the next one is called microabrasion. Now, the microabrasion is also a cosmetic treatment. You remove a thin layer of enamel using an abrasive compound. Now, I'm going to tell you how I remove mine. When I was small, I noticed I was having the brown thing on the teeth. I used my brain and reasoned. I said I will clean this one. I used razor blade to wipe it out. I don't have it now. Can you see it? That is the microabrasion. So use microabrasion to clean it out. At the formative stage, this fluoride, it occurs at the formative stage between the ages of less than 8. If you are less than 8 years, that is when it will affect you. But once you are more than 8 years, you don't have fluorosis. And once you have fluorosis at the early age and you leave it the way it is, you will grow with it. That is the problem with dental fluorosis. Now the next one is veneers and bonding. Now in some cases, you find out that the effect is there. All you need is to have a veneer. A veneer is a thin film of material that you put it on the teeth to cover the what? To cover the color. Just like somebody who has been on pilgrimage, when he's coming back, he will put what? Veneer on the teeth, so that you will be seeing that. You can equally do that. You don't need to remove your teeth because it is brown. You can use veneer to do that. Next slide. Now, this is a mild fluorosis. This is mild fluorosis. If you look at this one, if you were small that time, you could have used microabrasion. Just use what? Just use razor blade and scrape the nonsense out. Now, another one that worked, if you notice they are forming streaks, you use charcoal. Charcoal has worked. That is also microabrasion. When they are tiny, you use charcoal to be brushing your teeth. It will go. You are free from it. Now, let's go to severe ones. If you have a severe fluorosis or stains, you can either use veneers or crowns, just like I said. Now, the next one is what we use, composite bonding. Composite bonding. Now, in composite bonding, you use what? You apply a tooth-colored resin to the affected part. When you do that, then you use light to harden it. Now, next slide, let me show what I'm trying to. Yes, if you look at here, you can see that it is affected, right? If you look at this one, it is also affected. So what you use is that you use a composite bonding. You can apply the bone around this side where this one is cut. Now, when the bone is there, it will harden up and give you the desired shape of the tooth you want. That is composite bonding. So that can be done. You can see most of these ones, they need composite bonding to solve this problem. So that is what we call composite bonding. Next slide. Now, let's look at the prevention. How do you prevent fluoride contamination? Now, you have to monitor the intake of the fluoride from your ward, because I told you that it affects under 8 years and below. So what do? You monitor. If you notice that the teeth are beginning to develop, what do? You remove fluoride from their water, from their toothpaste. You know, toothpaste, or you use non-fluoridated toothpaste. Now, the next one is, you have to take your ward to a dentist. Thank you. You have to take your ward to a dentist for regular check. You take your dentist for regular check, sorry. Next. Okay, go back a little. Now, before we run up, there's what we are going to do. For those of you who have high fluoride level, instead of storing your water in plastic containers, you store them in clay pots. It's sounding absurd, isn't it? You use clay pot to store your what? Your water if you are in high fluoride dense area. The reason is this. The way the pot contains a high percentage of alumina, and this pot has been thermally activated. What do I mean by thermally activated? If you know the process of making pot, after molding, they have to heat it. So the heating that you are doing, you are thermally activating the pot. Then you put your water inside. You can see the percentage removal was about 83.1. Even if you get 50% removal, and your water contains 0.8, you have 0.4, you are safe. But the problem of this is that it requires replacing the clay pot over time, either monthly or bi-monthly, depending on the way you drink water. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, and other members of the Senate, time cannot permit us to go on and on talking about fluoride. We have so many research gaps to make in this, but we are limited by finance. We have suspended work on fluoride for the past 7 years, but we are resuming now because the team are better off. Now, I want to appreciate the following. One is the Lord God Almighty for giving me the strength and reaching this age. Very soon, I will be 60 years. That is an honor, 3 score. Now, to Gombe State University for giving me the opportunity and the privilege of sharing my experience. Now, to my wife and children they are here, all of them are here except one. My wife is here, the children are there. They have also come. I want to thank them for giving me peace of mind to do the research. Because if they give me trouble, the research cannot go on. I want to thank my daddy, who I consider my second father, Dr. Elisha Karo. I first met Dr. Elisha Karo at Bauchi College of Art and Science in 1985. I was running away from physics because I had poor background in physics. So I chose a combination, chemistry, maths, and biology. I finished my registration, I submitted. He sent for me to come. He said, "What kind of combination is this? What do you want to become?" I lied to him that I want to become a medical doctor. He said, "Okay, go and change physics and replace it, change maths and replace it with physics." While deep within me, I don't like becoming medical doctor. I don't know the reason. I want to become an engineer. So he just approved, and I went and read chemistry, maths, and physics. He didn't even know me. That was my first encounter with him. My second encounter is at the university. We went for an interview. We were interviewed the same day. Then I was introducing myself to him as a student. This man took me as a son. My going to South Africa would have not been possible without him. And not only that, he taught me how to work under pressure. That is why anywhere I go to, I don't have problem. My first sabbatical, they were taking 3 weeks, 4 weeks to mark. I finished marking my own in 1 week because of the orientation I had. He mentored me, and anytime he stands by me. I'm very grateful, sir. Next is my project supervisor, Professor Ali Ujero, former DG Nesria. He was my mate when we were doing our masters. Later on, he became my supervisor. And instead of treating me as what? As a student, he treated me as a friend. I'm also grateful. My going to South Africa again, it was him that made contact on my behalf when I went for my bench work. So he's also a mentor and somebody we can rely on. Next is the research team. I wonderfully work with this team, with Dr. Fai Frederick, Dr. Fai Frederick, I don't know how to describe him, but he's a researcher. He is good with the experimentals. I'm good with the literature searches. You see the problem? So we can be a good team. I can stay on the laptop and spend hours searching for literature. We will mount it. We will say, look, let's use this method. Let's improvise. That is Mr. Frederick, who is a member of the team. We also have Patrick Aim, who collected the sample and did some part of the analysis. He is my first academic son, though he has run away to biology, to organic chemistry. But we will still bring it back because research now is a collaborative research. We also have Zainab Hamma, my second academic daughter. She just tilted a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, because she went for polymer. Polymer and industrial, they are almost the same course, but our own is a wider perspective. We also have Solomon Pibdock. Solomon Pibdock has been my student. He was the one that worked on how to remove fluoride from water. Our publications are online. You can see about 7 of them. Now, we have Zacchaeus. This gentleman, when I met him, he has been of great assistance to me. And we are still together. We are still continuing research on fluoride together. Already we have 3 students on ground. So the work on fluoride will continue. I also wish to appreciate Dr. Esrom Toro. If not because of him, I would have run away from Gombe State University. When I faced a problem, I was in the SBRS. I left for the faculty. I was losing 25,000 naira per month. And you know that time. I applied to come back. They said no vacancy. I said, okay. I made up my mind to go back to the secondary school and continue my teaching. He just called me. He said, everything will pass away. Do you know how much? Do you know what grade level they have given me? I said, no. He said, remain. Thank you for the advice. I've remained. And today, I've reached the pinnacle of my career. Then my friends are here. They all came from Kaltungo, and those who were here joined me here. They took bus all the way to come and support me. I'm grateful for your support. Then I have my students. I also have my Gombe State chapter chair, Abdul Razak Banaru. He was earlier on introduced. He came to support me. He said, what do you need? We are ready to support you. I said, for now, I don't need anything. Thank you for coming. Then I cannot mention all of you. We have invited guests, and we have colleagues, the chemical family. I'm grateful. The chemical family are here. I'm grateful for your support and your coming. Thanks for listening. I'm grateful.
Please, innovation, for lecture of please. Once more. Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please have some more speakers. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Please, you may kindly take your seats. Thank you very much. Please, at this moment, Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, I want to quickly invite Professor Lazarus Zubai, the Dean for Faculty of Science, for the Board of Thanks. You're welcome.
The Vice-Chancellor, sir, ably presented by the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Adimi, other principals officers here present, the Provost, College of Medical Science, HODs, Deans, Directors here present, our dear invited guests, students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I feel proud and honored to stand before you here to give words of thanks or vote of thanks on behalf of the staff and students of Faculty of Science, in which or where the inaugural lecture has spent more than 2 decades carrying out research and teaching, more especially the Department of Chemical Sciences. Professor Wilson Danbature is not new to us. He is one of the founding fathers of the Department of Chemical Science. And I congratulate you for reaching this peak in academic endeavor and for having presented your inaugural lecture today. To the management of the university, I want to thank you specifically the Vice-Chancellor and his team for providing the enabling environment to have this inaugural lecture or ceremony a successful one. To the chairman of the ceremony and his team, I say thank you on behalf of the members of the Faculty of Science for organizing this wonderful event. To our invited guests, we say thank you for sparing your time to grace this occasion. And to our students, we also thank you for coming to witness this event. As we live here, it is my prayer that may Almighty God give you a journey mercy back to your various places. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, at this moment we are exhausted, we are just have to give you. And I want to please that immediately after the national anthem, the procession will still take place in the class order. So please include your indulgence to respect the procession. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we will rise for the national anthem.